Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Pure Fishing Michigan. It's a little cold out, so I thought I'd stay indoors this weekend and do a fly tying video for everybody. Hopefully you enjoy this. I do like fishing this fly. It's a good fly, especially for coho, steelhead, and actually pike as well. And you can strip it, swing it, you can dead drift it. It's a pretty useful fly. It basically is a crazy looking egg sucking leech. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this. And I'm going to kind of go through step by step. It's a longer video, but I'm going to go through it really slowly and hopefully give you guys all the details of what I use and how I tie this fly. And if you guys haven't already subscribed, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I appreciate the support of all of you that have subscribed so far. If you want to see something in the future, don't hesitate to drop me a comment and hit the thumbs up if you enjoy it. So for those of you that haven't already subscribed, if you don't know where the subscribe button is, it's right down there, okay? All right, you guys stay tuned. We'll get into this. All right, so to start this fly, we're gonna start with a aquafly shank. Now you don't need to use a shank like this. You can use a spinner shank. You can cut the end off of a salmon hook, whatever you want to do to give yourself a straight shank with a eye at the end of it. And the purpose of this is we want to be able to run our trailer wire or braid along the shank and still be able to run a bead up there. So again, we're tying a bead head swing fly. Like we talked about, you're gonna have something like this, a ball of fluff, and it's almost like a two-stage fly where we have some ostrich and pine squirrel tail, and then a chunk of ice dub, and then we have some, maybe one wrap of marabou, maybe two, and then some ostrich herl and mallard flank just to give it a little contrast, and ice dub collar with a bead head. The cool thing is you can do this in a lot of different colors, a lot of different color variations, different, ice dub. Like I have a bluish greenish collar here. You can see that's been fished quite a bit, so some of that's come off. As far as the beads go, you can use whatever beads you want, but I'm using trout beads. These are the 8mm beads, and I got a ton of them. I just don't use a lot of these hard beads anymore, so they're perfect for something like this. So we're gonna do an orange bead head. Okay, so we're gonna take the shank, we're gonna take our bead, and then we're gonna cut a piece of this 30-pound black fireline. It softens up after it's been fished, but it starts out stiff. So it's pretty easy to use to keep your hook out of the way. And then I just have these scissors. These are great for cutting braid, by the way. If you've been around for even a little while, you probably already know about these scissors. So pretty awesome. Rapala makes pretty decent stuff. So we're gonna start off with the trailer. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm just laying the trailer braid along the shank. I'm gonna slide the bead through the back. This is kind of a I'm not gonna lie, this is a pain in the butt, so we may fast forward some of this, but basically I'm gonna slide the wire through first. Maybe I should slide it through on the shank and then put the fire line against it. Maybe that'll help wiggle it in there. After a ridiculous amount of struggle, we now have our bead on the see if I can, there you go, focus more in on that than my mug. So now Got the bead on the shank. That's honestly probably the hardest part of tying this freaking fly, is the getting the bead on there. And then, now that that's on there, we have just a thread base. We're gonna wrap all the way back. So you're gonna cut those two tag ends off. Just make sure not to cut your actual loop that your hook's gonna go on. And now you're good to go. My trailer's pretty long, but I'm gonna make this a decently long fly. So there's the back end, and I'm typically gonna have my tail go to the end of that because my hook's gonna extend a little past that. So I'm gonna take a piece of pine squirrel. Now again, you can use rabbit. I like pine squirrel because it does not have as hard of a time sinking. That's it. I like rabbit. Rabbit's got good movement. Everything's good. Rabbit's good. It's just that floating thing that I don't want this fly to do. I'm gonna give this a tiny ice dub bump. And the reason I'm doing that is when I put that pine squirrel tail on, I want it to kind of prop it up a little bit. When you prop up hackle or marabou or even pine squirrel, it's gonna cause it to flap around in the water a little bit more, and that's what we want. So just gonna do a little butt section here, nothing crazy. Okay, so there's a little sparkle. Now if you notice, I pulled the hair off the end. That way I'm tying down the hide and not hair. You don't want your fly to only last for one fish. And unfortunately, if you tend to tie it down on the hair, that's probably what you're looking at, is you're gonna have a fish grab a hold of that tail. If they, for whatever reason, if they miss the hook, then the fish will pull that rabbit hair right out. So now I got a thread, or I got an ice dub bump. I have the trailer wire going about as, close to the distance of the tail. I can always cut that if I want. You can't make it longer, but you can always make it shorter. So now that I've got that, now I'm going to do another ice dub bump. Perfect. Now I'm going to take my ostrich hurl and I'm going to cut about 10 strands. So probably something like that. I'm probably going to pull out a few that are weird lengths. They just don't match. Some of them will have like flat tops. I want them all to be pointy. So I'm going to have that there. I'm going to lay these down. Whoops. Whoops a daisy. There. Some of these out. And then I'm going to wrap it around. There. Perfect. Now, I'm going to do another ball of ice dub. If you guys ever have any issues with getting your ice dub to stick, I'm not doing like a dubbing loop, I'm just rolling it onto the thread and winding it up. So I just sometimes breathing in my hand helps to get it to stick. Okay, so now I'm doing another bump in front of this, and now this is where I'm gonna do my marabou wrap. Now I'm going to do some black. Fish Hunter makes a good spay marabou. This J Fairs makes a good marabou. You basically just want a, I guess I'll call it a stalk of marabou that looks like this. It's got an area that's soft and it has these long fibers on it. So I'm going to strip these off. Now I will actually sometimes use these, and I'll just actually take this little strip that I pulled off and I'll just wrap it around the shank, tie down the marabou, and then cut the hard parts off. You can do that too if you don't want to be wasteful. Sometimes I want to do that, sometimes I don't care. So again, it really depends on my mood on that day as to whether I throw this away or not. But again, you'll get these good usable fibers left over, and like I said, you can use them the way I just said. So, but today, to make this as easy and as least messy as possible, I'm just sticking with this right here, which is a little stalk of marabou, and again, you got some nice long fibers on there. So I'm going to tie it in here. I've been known to pull these out. So here I'm just basically wrapping the marabou around the shank, and I'm just kind of palmering it back, blowing it a little bit just to keep myself from trapping any fibers under the thread. It probably looks pretty crazy right now, but it's actually quite sparse. There's not a lot of material here. So yeah, I'm gonna do another few strands of ostrich herl just to, again, give it some contrast over the black marabou. You guys might do this faster than me. I like to take my time. I do have flies that I tie that are quicker. This isn't one of them, but this is probably one of my favorite flies as far as how effective it is. I think part of it might just be not a lot of people have a fly like this. This is just kind of one I pulled out of my backside. The only one I can think of that has a fly like this is, I know there's a Senyo's egg raider, which is very similar to this. It's got a bead on the top, but it's a little different than this one. So again, sometimes it just could be the fish are seeing something different. That is what I'm thinking. And again, this works for all kinds of fish. It'd probably be a, oh, I don't want to do that. Sometimes it helps to kind of lick your fingers and pull some of that material out of the way. It makes it a little bit easier, especially when you're getting close to the end and you're trying to wrap your thread around stuff. Just a tip. A mallard flank feather. Like a little longer. There we go. And they look like this if you guys don't already know. Again, same thing, you can get these all over the place. It's called a mallard flank. I'm sure if you just look around, you'll find them. I'm going to tie this in right in front of the ostrich hurl, and I'm going to tie that down good. Cut the remainder off, and then I'm going to try to get in the back with a pair of hackle pliers here. It's kind of tough to do without them. I might need to blow those out. So now I can wrap one, two, all right, I was looking for the stem here. I'm just wrapping this. Like I said, this mallard flank, it can be temperamental. Just got to kind of keep working it back the best you can. And then usually when you get to the end, you can just pull it back and it'll kind of figure itself out here. I'm going to try to comb some of this out. I did trap a few fibers in there earlier. These brushes are great, by the way. I don't even know where I got this. It's definitely not a sanctioned fly fishing brush, but I probably got it at Walmart or something. Super cheap. It works. It's not extremely abrasive as far as like it won't ruin your flies, but you can kind of brush them out. You can get all the hairs to lay the right way. There's a couple more fibers trapped that I'm going to try to scoot out here. I'm just using my whip finisher. There we go. Got them. You can use a needle, really anything you want. Anything sharp that can get in there and pluck those out. And then so this is pretty much done. The last thing I'm gonna do, there it is. And this is herringback crystal flash. So we don't need a ton of extra stuff to get the fish's attention. And if I can find that long one, I'll just pull it out and then I'll reposition it here. And with these fibers, it's okay if they're staggered anyway. So usually I'll just kind of pull all this back. lock these down right on the side. And I'm going to wrap up to the head because I'm going to double it back. Make sure you pull all these guys straight so they don't bunch up. It can be a pain in the butt if they do. I'm going to try to kind of crisscross them over the other ones so they lay down on the other side. And then I'm just going to cut them. Back there, like so. And cool, now we're pretty much done with the fly. As you can see, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on here. Now, I'm gonna take, well, this is the way I like to do it. So again, this is where, you know, instead of black pine squirrel tail, it could be purple, it could be purple rabbit, it could be orange, pink, whatever. You can still do the black. You can do black ostrich curl, you can do purple like I did. I mean, there's just really no, you can use the same materials in different colors and have a lot of different variations. So I'm gonna take this shrimp pink ice dub, okay, shrimp pink. I like it because again, it's not crazy flashy. I'm gonna take a decent amount of it and I'm just gonna kind of pick at it and try to even out the fibers. And I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Once I feel they're somewhat even. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of push the center of it up over the fly. And I'm gonna do a loose wrap. I'm gonna latch it down tight. I'm gonna pull back the ice dub. I'm gonna come in front and I'm gonna lock it down. Now, this isn't all gonna stay, so I am gonna kind of brush it out. And you'll see that it kind of, some of this will come out, which is fine. I save mine. I like to make blends, so I got some blue, some green, some, now we got some shrimp pink in there, and I will actually, depending on how much comes out of this, I may put another chunk in there, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did last time. Yeah, so see how much of that came out? So now I can take that, pull it out of the brush, put it in here. Now I got my little blend. And do the same thing, kind of pick it apart. When you're done with this, you're gonna look just like when you were a kid and you were playing with glitter. You have little sparkly things all over your pants and your shirt. It's wonderful. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing. Insert this over the front. I'm gonna do a loop right behind the bead. Lock it down. Now I'm gonna pull this back. I'm gonna go right in front. I'm gonna latch it down. Same thing. Okay, now my collar should be a little sturdier. This fly is done. So now I'm gonna pull all this back. Where's my whip finishing tool? Now, because this is a swing fly with a trailer hook out the back, I don't usually feel the need to use cement on these. You can, but it could hinder the movement of all your little fibers here. You know, you got all this ice dub in here and all this other stuff going on. So now if you guys notice, I didn't actually put a hook in here yet. The reason I did that is, one, I don't want the hook to go on my finger, but I can put it in now. So you see I got a bunch of stuff going on here. Now it all sprawls out. Almost looks like a really cool flower. Now I'm going to take, I have an owner hook. It's just a needlepoint owner hook. It's a size 2. I like to use a size 2. Sometimes I'll use a size 4, but usually use a size 2. And I'm just going to take my fire line, push it through the eye, maybe not. Pushing it through the eye, and then you're going to double it back, and there it is. Now you'll see when I lay this all down is right at where the tail is. So when the steelhead come in to investigate this and they nip at the tail, they should get hooked. So there you have it. This fly works good in the winter, spring, fall. And like I said, I've caught king salmon on this fly. I've caught coho, steelhead, browns. It's just a cool fly. Like I said, it's something a little different. Yeah. All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed that fly tying tutorial. We're going to be back to fishing real soon. Just thought it'd be a nice change of pace to do something inside and still hopefully give you guys something that you can use out there, steelhead, salmon, or whatever the heck you fish for. So again, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with other people that are into fishing, and we'll see you on the water next time.